you again for that. Can we have the first slide? So just a little bit about me. So I'm Jack, and I'm a Year 10 student from Melbourne Village College, and I study many different subjects, but among those I study science, Mandarin, geography and history. And although I'm not totally sure what I want to do, what job when I'm older, I know I want to have a positive impact on people around me, and that's why I think town planning is great for that, because you directly help improve people's lives around you. It's great. And some fun facts about me: I play the electric guitar. I love films, and I've seen over 300. I support Arsenal. Oh dear. Yeah. And the room sings. I play football and tennis. My favourite subject is probably biology, although I do enjoy all of my subjects. I have a very large cat called Elsie, who isn't in this presentation, unfortunately. But I also used to write in my local newspaper called The Laurentian, which gave me loads of great opportunities, such as talking to the mayor and also showcasing my photography skills, which was brilliant. Next slide, please. So why I chose to do work experience here? I've always been passionate about designing things, and of course, ever since I was a child, especially, you'll know about this if you have children. So I love, and I've always loved building Lego, which is Lego Star Wars and all of that. And unfortunately for my parents, I used to leave it all over the living room floor, so great for them. But also games like SimCity, that helped build my passion for designing things. Yeah, it's good fun. And I also really enjoy learning about what makes something aesthetically pleasing. So photography, I'm passionate about that. And you can, like town planning, there's an overlap, because there's certain things you can do in both makes it just better looking, right? And I also like drawing art, although my art teacher would disagree. But I'm very passionate about these things, and again, town planning is great for all of those. Yeah, again, I do want to make a positive impact on the world, so I've done volunteering through Silver Duke of Edinburgh scheme. I have, and in town planning, you get to directly help people and improve their lives through implanting and help design better housing, which is where they live. And better public spaces means a happier population, right? So I think town planning is just superb, and it's a great place to do work experience. Next slide, please. So next I'm going to talk a little bit about what I've learned about the Greater Cambridge Shared Planning. So the Greater Cambridge Shared Planning Service is a joint run authority run by Cambridge City Council and South Cambridgeshire District Council. It prepares a local plan and decides planning applications, manages how and where new homes, jobs, infrastructure and green spaces are developed, which also means balancing up the financial benefits in place and the environmental costs. So it's finding that balance between that, which Greater Cambridge Shared Planning can do, which is great. Why it is important? This is important because it ensures growth is coordinated, sustainable, and respects the unique character environment of one of the UK's fastest growing regions. So especially Cambridge and Greater Cambridge, there's going to be a new train station, it's expanding every single year, so it's vitally important we get the essentials right now, because if we get it right now, we don't have to make any expensive changes later down the line. Next slide, please. I'll talk a bit now about the Youth Engagement Service. So this is a scheme where I'm doing my work experience through. It is a service that provides support, advice and opportunities for young people, typically those aged 11 to 25. And what it does is it often offers a range of activities and support, including social spaces, health and wellbeing programs and opportunities for personal development and wellbeing. This is essential because not every child has the support they need. So, organisations like this are so important to ensure that you give every child, best possible head start they can get. And it's also important because it provides an incentive to help others in their local area, again through volunteering, which does look good in the CV and personal, but it also is good to give back to your community. And it has also won many awards, so it's very impressive. Next slide, please. So here's some key terms and definitions I picked up over my week here. So you have local plan, development plan, material consideration, and my favourite, permeability, which is how well a place allows movement through it, encouraging walking, cycling, and good access, which is essential when building a town, so people can get through it. Transport is good, and it's just a nice place to go through and live in. And of course, affordable housing. 40% of all housing should be affordable in theory, but that's not always practical. So by knowing the definition, it helps just give you that little extra bit of knowledge that just helps, you do that tiny bit better, make tiny bit better towns. Next slide, please. So here's a brief overview of my week here. So Monday, I focused mainly on learning the basics and learning about the job of town planners, which is really interesting. Thank you to Tom for doing that. And Tuesday, I went around then. We did the Beat the Street thing, which is really, really good. It's a great experience. It's nice meeting you as well. And Wednesday, the highlight for me was a disability meeting with Mark Taylor. I just find, his story really, really inspiring, because despite all the challenges he's faced, he's still choosing to work and have a positive impact on the world around him, which I think we can all take a leaf out of his book there. I worked on my portfolio for the rest of the day, and I haven't filmed Thursday or Friday yet, but Thursday I focused on portfolio and sat in a few meetings, which has been very good, and given me key skills for the world of work. Next slide, please. So looking now at the sustainability in the National Planning Policy Framework. So the NPPF is England's main planning policy document, and there's 7 key areas. So first one is housing and growth, which sets mandatory housing targets. Second is green belt, which I think this is probably the most important one, especially in this area, because the green belt also provides a natural barrier so that the town, cities around us just don't become one big area. It also provides a biodiverse space for wildlife to thrive, which is very important. 3, sustainable developments. So that strengthens the presumption in favour of sustainable development. 4, designing character. So this, again, it means keeping a place's values and character so it doesn't change too much. So it still has the same culture, which is, isn't as prominent in newer places like Camborne, but as time will go on, that will become more important as it develops its own culture. 5, infrastructure and economy. Has the financial side of things, so it means financial viability and things like that. 6, environmental protection. That is your biodiversity, heritage, green belt again, and making sure that wildlife have a place where they can go and live. And the 7th one is plan making and decision making, which sets rules for preparing and updating local plans and how planning decisions are made, with new rules effective from December 2024 to March 2025. New slide, please. So 4 C's we're going to look at, and the first C is character, which is basically what makes Camborne the way it is. The second C is connectivity, how convenient is transport. Third is climate, how can Camborne become a greener place to live, so that's your environmental side of things. And community is, how can we ensure that people of Camborne are happy? Because a happy place is a thriving place. So that's essential. Next slide, please. So now we're going to move on to my case study of the High Street in Camborne. If you look here, it states what buildings are in Camborne High Street. There's 87 apartments, 30 townhouses and 3 mixed-use buildings. So the mixed-use building is often a flat above a shop. Next slide, please. So here are things I've noticed, and this might require a little bit of zooming in if that's accessible. But the first thing is trees overlapping with parking spaces. This is a huge problem because the tree roots may outgrow the parking space, which makes the parking space itself unusable, which means congestion will rise, which is a huge problem for people who live there. Second point is no affordable housing is offered at all when it should be at least 40%. So obviously that's a huge problem because it means it almost discriminates against people on lower incomes. The third problem is houses are very, very close to the road, and there's a very, very small pavement in between the road and the house. There are more obvious problems such as noise and inaccessibility, but there's also problems to do with pollution. So serious health risks such as lung cancer are much higher when houses are directly closer to a road like that. And the fourth problem is the garden is very, very small. So multiple studies have shown that when someone is in a greener area, their morale is higher. So with a smaller garden and less of a place to be in the green and the wildlife, people are generally less happy. The fifth problem is the trees on the high street are not allowed to be cut down. So that's obviously just don't cut down the trees, it's a solution there. The sixth problem is a low fence means that the back gardens are less private. So people can just peek over and there's just no privacy, which isn't good for residents. Next slide, please. So moving on, I've proposed some possible solutions to this. So as you can see, I've sort of drawn onto the map quite badly, but I've given it an attempt. And my main points here are there's more affordable housing in orange. There are higher fences to improve privacy. There's a nicer view with a playground, which gives the children a place to play, which is very important as they can develop and grow in a space that's designed directly for them. Their trees aren't going to be cut down. There's integrated gaps for permeability, and there's increased space at the back for residential gardens, which increases community spirit as well, which is really important. And a mixture of housing values helps provide options for lower income budgets. So there's less of a segregation between classes, which is always a good thing to be. And there are more disabled parking spaces in light blue. And there's a pond as well. So there's generally more green spaces and less housing. So the houses that are there are more pleasant to be in, which I think is great. Next slide, please. I also want to justify why I've chosen to put these out. So, firstly, looking at green spaces and ecology. So, preserved existing trees for biodiversity and site character. Just gives the area a bit more of a rural character, which a lot of people are looking for. And there's an added pond as a scenic point, and a possible future opportunity to create a nature reserve, or people can go fishing. So it just provides an opportunity to get outside, which is great. Included communal and private gardens, which increases individual housing value with communal spirit, which is again allows people just to be in a green space with people who they can meet, and that brings the community closer. So that means it's a tighter and nicer place to live in, I think. And second, we'll look at movement and accessibility. So there is increased pedestrian permeability to support more mobility. There's gaps between houses that weren't added in previously. There's also provided disabled parking with direct level access routes, which is very important because you don't know how many people with disabilities might go into the flats, and you need to facilitate them if so. And added shrubs to screen parking areas and reduce visual impact. And third, residential improvements. So the increased rear garden space for privacy and daylight. There's also higher fences, which again is better privacy. And fusion homes oriented towards green and pond areas. Yeah, it's always nice to unlook a pond instead of a car park. It's nice to wake up to that. And less houses overall to prevent overcrowding. It's a more realistic carrying capacity of the place, so they're not trying to cram as many people as possible for a profit. So that's better for each of the people who live there. And more affordable housing is put in, which gives people more options. Next slide, please. Of course, there's better parking and functionality. Introduced dedicated parking zones near homes and clearly marked disabled bays for inclusivity. 5. A housing mix and community. There's mixed tenures, affordable and luxury for balance and sustainability. So again, whoever you are, whatever your price range, family, single, whatever, there's going to be a house for you, right? Which is great. It's always nice to know there's a house. And the tenure blind layout encourages social integration, which is really nice. And family-friendly features, so the new playground promotes outdoor activity to children. And I think the problem of rising child obesity, by providing an incentive for children to go outside and play on a nice playground, it just gives them physical exercise that's actually fun. So that's great. And green space doubles as a communal gathering area. So again, there's more about community spirit, which is really nice. Next slide, please. So I had a meeting with Mark Taylor on Wednesday, like I mentioned in my day planner, and I found that extremely impactful. And it made me think about more the disability and elderly accessibility. And he said disability is not a choice, but how we see it and how we facilitate it is. So there are 7 main ways we can help create a brighter and more accepting future for people with disabilities, whether they're invisible, neurological, or invisible. So buildings, install ramps and automatic doors, and just provides more friendly to wheelchairs. Transport, use low floor wheelchair accessible vehicles, and also trains as more of a problem, but if there's people at train stations nearby, they can help people get onto the train safely. Technology, ensure websites and devices are accessible and on, like hotlines or radios. And healthcare. We're very, very lucky in this country. We have the NHS, it's free healthcare. But offering home visits and longer appointments is great because it allows the disabled people to not feel rushed and therefore have a better experience. Communication, so just talking about it, because there is a huge misunderstanding and many misconceptions, I think, about disability, especially neurological disabilities. And taking the time to understand people with these, it really will mean a lot to them, and that's a great thing to do, and it helps them in the long run as well. Community, running inclusive and accessible events and activities. Again, it's that community spirit, and it brings people closer. And it's nice because no matter who you are, you can still attend these things. It's great. And policy, we can campaign for laws and include disabled voices in planning, which is what we're doing here, which is great. Next slide, please. So health and lifestyle incentives. So I'd like you to think about and just read this quote for a moment. So by creating a greener space to live, the incentive to go outside is more apparent. If you look at the habit loop in the bottom right corner, it says trigger that leads to action that leads to reward. So if we see the trigger as a green space, right, the action is we're more inclined to go outside and exercise, go for a run, go for a bike, or whatever. And therefore the reward, the feeling of dopamine, and we feel proud after going outside, right? And we want to do it again. So by creating this positive feedback loop, people will go outside and exercise more, which creates a more healthy community. Next slide, please. Just to really make you think about this, which of these would you rather go for a walk or bike or run in? I can almost guarantee you it's going to be the one on the right, because it's a nicer area and it's better planned out. So it just shows us planning well ensures that people can have more active and happier lives. Next slide, please. So just wrapping things up a bit, my week at Greater Cambridge Shared Planning, I've developed many skills, whether they be interpersonal or to do with Excel or PowerPoint or the world of work. And I'm very grateful. So I've observed how planners assess proposals, balance sustainability with financial viability and growth, and worked within national and local frameworks. I also found visiting Camborne High Street extremely interesting. I was able to photograph different features, which is really nice to do. And obviously doing Venture, helping them out with the Eat the Street programme, I found really enjoyable and rewarding. And obviously meeting Mark Taylor as well, that was really eye-opening. So I'd like to thank you all for giving me those opportunities. So thank you. Next slide, please. And in conclusion, I've really enjoyed my week at Cambridge Shared Planning through my work experience week. I've learned a lot of valuable information about the world of planning, and regardless of what I choose to do in the future, the insights I've got from this being in a work environment are irrevocably useful. And I'd like to say a huge thank you to Tom Davies for helping set this up. It's been great working with you. And of course, Bonnie, it's been lovely working with you, getting to know you. It's been really nice. And also, I'd like to thank everyone listening. Thank you very much for coming here and listening to my presentation. And I hope you liked it. So, thank you very much.
Fantastic.
If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah, I will invite people online first. Stephen.
Hi there, I'm sorry, Jack, I need to leave to go to another meeting, but really interesting presentation there, and hopefully really insightful few days that you've had, certainly working at alongside Tom and Bonnie and others, to get a feel for what planners do. That's kind of the virtues that we're trying to instill within new development. And I'm sure Tom and Bonnie were talking to you about how, a bit like a mixing desk on a sound recording studio, what we're trying to do is to make sure that we deliver on green space, affordable housing types and mixes, commercial floor space actually that doesn't make any money these days, so you have to then use the funding for the profit from house sales to deliver some of that. Helping to see how all of those considerations and your really insightful comments around the quality of spaces to get people to go out, how we can solve some of those health challenges and make people and communities more involved, reduce loneliness, is an amazing set of tasks. It's a fantastic thing to try to come into work every day as a planner and to know that you're trying to solve those problems is both massively challenging and hugely rewarding. And I see Peter Maddox on the call and Rebecca sitting there and Bonnie, and you've talked about some of the people that you've met. It's a team effort, but from your studies, from Mandarin to geography and history and so forth, hopefully we've given you something to think about in terms of where you might be able to deploy them to maximise that kind of blend of people, and like a recording producer in producing a top 10 song, try and come up with the right balance to make great music in a place. Because being able to change the world, okay, one town, one building at a time, is an immense privilege, and planners are really the only people that are doing that. So thank you very much. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed your presentation, but I've got to dash now, so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephen.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Peter.
Thanks, Jack. Just a couple of questions. This might not be an easy one, but I just wondered what, through all of the things that you've done during the week, what would you say was the most important learning point as far as you're concerned? Was there anything that particularly sort of stands out for you from your work this week?
I think probably the disability meeting.
I thought you might say, yeah. I got the feeling you might say that, but yeah.
I'd say just learning about all the challenges they have to go through, and it's not that we are malicious in not thinking about them, we just often forget what people go through. So just providing these support just to help them enjoy and live in better places is just really important to me. So
yeah, and I think we're probably all a little bit guilty of not deliberately stopping people from doing things.
Yeah,
We just don't think these things through, and I think obviously your meeting with Mark was really helpful in you sort of thinking, what can we do to make lives easier and things more accessible. So that was really good. The other thing I was thinking, is there something that, whether you go into a planning career or not, I don't know. But is there any particular skills that you think you could bring to such a role? Was there anything specific?
I think I'm particularly good at maths. I really enjoy, I really enjoy the maths side of things, and I also really like writing documents. So I feel like I could write quite a good case study, or I could interview someone. That's the kind of skills I'd probably bring.
I've been in finance for all of my life, and I've had little exposure to planning. However, I did have quite a close friend who was a town planner, and he loved his job, and he moved out to the Gambia in Africa and did some town planning there. And when I spoke to him when he came back, he said he really felt that he'd made a difference to the people of that country. Okay, he wasn't doing it alone, there were a number of others, but he felt he'd really contributed into making a difference in somewhere like the Gambia. And okay, it's a bit different in Cambridgeshire, but I guess that still holds good. So yeah, that was really insightful. Thank you very much for your presentation, much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
And it sounds like you really enjoyed your time, and really good to hear your enthusiasm.
Yeah, thank you for listening. I appreciate it.
That's no problem, it's great.
Cheers.
Rebecca?
I just can't believe how at year 10, trying to work out how old I was at year 10, what is that is now, I think that's year 4, when I was at school, how you already have worked all of this out, because I did very similar subjects to you. I did maths, geography, history, science. I only had to do one science back in the day. And then I got to my A-levels and I did maths, physics and geography A-levels and still didn't know what I wanted to do. But like you, I was interested in Lego, still build Lego now. I played SimCity. But planning hadn't crossed my radar still at that point when I was doing my A-levels. And it wasn't until my physics teacher said to me, have you thought about town planning? That brings all of your A-level subjects together, that it was even something I was aware of. So I was just like, how you're already switched on to it and interested in it. And I am one of those weird people that has an actual town planning first degree and a master's in planning as well.
Yeah.
So stick with it, because you're already there, you're already interested. So I just can't believe that someone's thought about planning at your age. and is already switched onto it and the benefits of it as well. So keep going.
Thank
It's
you.
a really, it's a really interesting career, and like Peter's done finance forever. I've been a planner for 30 years. I don't know, yeah, nearly 30 years now, and I still find it really interesting. Something different every day.
Wow.
So
Yeah, thank you for that.
it's all right.
Cheers.
Well done. And you present better than I ever can.
Wow.
So I
I
hate
think
presenting.
you're a very thoughtful,
Yeah.
confident person.
Yeah,
thank
very
you.
much so.
I think for 15 to sort of cope with that challenge of commenting on an application on the high street for 100 dwellings is very impressive. We were in a team of 5 doing it last week, and you sort of matched what they did. just on your own, and you've had to cope with us being in and out of Teams meetings every 5 minutes every day. So yeah, we've really enjoyed being with
Yes,
you.
really
I hope you stay in touch, and
Yeah.
there'll be opportunities next summer, and it's nice to hear how you get on GCSE and next steps after that.
And we do take interns every year.
Yeah, that'll be good. Yeah. Alright, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe some final comments from me.
Yes, so Jeff, I think that you've done really well. You've only been here for 4 days, less than 4 days, but you've seemed to manage to understand the national
Fit my
career framework. Yeah. You talked about the 4 Cs, which is a really good, simple system to assess design quality. You did a site visit with us, but Tom and I have been quite busy, so a lot of it was self-directed studies.
Yeah.
So I give you a lot of credit for that, because
Thank
you
you.
sat there, you studied, and then whenever you had a question, you came to ask us. Very proactive, very confident as well, and you managed to analyse the Harris Partnerships planning application, and then you managed to give a really good constructive critique, and then you come up with a really fantastic proposal with very, very minimum support from us. So that was really impressive.
Yeah.
So I think you'll go very far in life, and I wish you all the very best, and thank you so much for choosing the Greater Cambridgeshire Planning Youth Engagement Service for your work experience.
It's been a pleasure.